So it is, what, 2.5 months late? I don't even remember when Dooku Jedi Lost came out, but you guys asked for a review, and I'm here to finally actually film one. Because it isn't a physical book yet, I'm going to be doing a video about all the Star Wars stuff that was at San Diego Comic-Con just this past weekend, where of the many things announced was a physical print version as well as an ebook version of Dooku Jedi Lost, which I cannot wait for because I'm going to buy 3 of them. 1 to read, 1 to desecrate with highlighters, and 1 to stick to whiteboards in my massive conspiracy dungeon in my basement. So, yeah, I really enjoyed Dooku Jedi Lost, and you guys have probably seen it a couple times, bottom of the frame here. So I listened to Dooku Jedi Lost a couple of times at work. And fortunately, I was in a position that I'm not normally in at work, which is sitting at a desk doing data entry work. And that's quite boring, but it means that I have a little pen and a piece of paper that I can sit there and actually make notes with. So I have like random just thoughts that I'm just going to go through as this review, just throughout the entirety of the audiobook in general, or the audio drama really, because you know what, before we go into these notes, let me just talk about that. This is not an audio book. It is exactly like the audio dramas from like, I don't remember, it was the 80s, I think? They were either the 80s or the 90s, but the whole original trilogy was done up in audio drama style, with like big sound effects and you know, the musical score and everything like that. The Star Wars audiobooks are already really high quality with music and some sound effects and stuff mixed in, but Dooku Jedi Lost is specifically written to work as an audiobook or work as an audio drama. And I'm really excited for whatever else we're going to get. Really, I'm just hoping for more of that genre. I'm hoping for more of these audio drama-esque type things. I'm hoping that Dooku Jedi Lost did well enough for them to be willing to put that kind of budget into the sound editing and the massive different cast members, because most of the audiobooks are just done by one narrator, maybe 2, but for the most part, all the audiobooks are one person putting on a whole ton of different voices. Dooku Jedi Lost was so many different cast members that I am not even willing to start trying to name because I will forget some of the most important ones. Anyways, so the general format of Dooku Jedi Lost out of the way, let's go to my mad conspiracy brain, quickly jotted down notes in red ink. Not that I was trying to invoke the whole conspiracy theory thing, writing random thoughts down in red ink, but that's what was at the desk. So anyways, Master Trennis, I think. I spelled it Trenis, but obviously we don't have a spelling yet. So Master Trennis's fall. There's a bit where Dooku and a few of his friends, this is back when Dooku was a youngling, and they're talking about the Jedi that have left the Order. And Yoda says something about Master Trennis, sad that was. And that leads me to my number 1 point. There are so many little bits and pieces. My next note here is Battle of Wasted Years and Darth Krall. The statue of the 4 founders. I think in Legends that was already a thing. Those 4 statues that you see Anakin walk past in Revenge of the Sith with the 501st. But there is something different about this. Ossus, site of the first Jedi Temple, tree, the Force tree that we see in Shattered Empire, the comic that came out just before The Force Awakens, or where we saw a branch of that tree, was possibly from Ossus, which is another Legends origin point for the original Jedi Order. There are so many hints. All that is to say that there are so many hints to the past. They're talking about the Sith Empire and the High Republic. We haven't heard that before. I don't think we've heard that before, at least. I don't recall hearing about the High Republic in any Legends novels about the Old Republic. I am convinced that in between Master and Apprentice, and especially Dooku Jedi Lost, we're going backward. Whatever the heck we get at Celebration 2020 in Anaheim, it has to be at least something to do with the distant past. How they're going to make that work, I don't know. Are they going to talk about the battle in between whatever the High Republic was or whatever the Jedi Order was while the Sith Empire was around? We also know that from Dooku, Jedi Lost, we know that his home planet, Dooku's home planet of Sereno, was underneath Sith rule back when the Sith Empire was a thing. So we know that it was a force to be reckoned with. It wasn't just a cult; it was a political entity, or it wasn't just a religious order, depending on how you want to phrase that. Anyways, enough of me speculating wildly about whatever the heck slate we're going to get at Celebration 2020, or lack of a slate, because I love Lucasfilm. I think that they're doing a really good job with what the IP is, and still keeping it whatever Disney's doing when it comes to letting Lucasfilm run wild. They're doing a pretty good job of it. However, I'd really like us to get a slate at Celebration Anaheim. A slate like what Marvel just got with Phase 4, being announced yesterday, I think, compared to when I'm filming this. I'd really like to get that in Anaheim. And I'm speculating wildly about us even getting one and what could be on said slate. Anyways, enough of that. The other big theme that at least I picked up on from Dooku Jedi Lost was really reinforcement of how crappy the prequel era Jedi were. Even in Dooku's youngling years, there are... Sifo Dyas, we know from the Clone Wars episode with Sifo Dyas, in the Lost Missions, I think that's where it was, in Season 6. Sifo Dyas, he has a gift of premonitions in the same way that Quinlan Vos has the ability to, touch an object and feel where that object has been and it's passed through the Force and all that. Similar to how Rey, picked up the lightsaber and got a crazy vision in The Force Awakens. Same sort of thing. Certain Jedi have got certain extra abilities or certain talents within the Force. Anakin's was being able to see things before they happen. That was his particular strength. Sifo Dyas has the same thing, but for visions. And the language that they use and the tone that they use with whenever they're discussing Sifo Dyas' ability to see the future or his ability to be granted visions by the Force, they almost see him as diseased in a way. He suffers from premonitions. That's an actual thing that one of the characters say in the audio drama. I keep wanting to say book, but they actually say Sifo Dyas suffers from premonitions. Like it's a disease or like it's a disorder. And there's even talk about how Sifo Dyas, he could be put in the Citadel, which is the Jedi prison that we see in the Clone Wars with the Tarkin arc. So wait, are you telling me that the prequel era Jedi fear people who have premonitions or have strong premonitions enough? They see them as enough. They see them as enough of a danger to basically lock them up in an insane asylum? Huh? And the Jedi are supposed to be the defenders of peace and justice. The justice part is kind of what I'm kind of hung up on, especially when they, it's interesting to think that the Jedi would be willing to do that to one of their own Padawans. And, for example, and I know that I actually very recently saw Kevin Scott, the author that wrote Dooku Jedi Lost, say on Twitter, or maybe it was somebody live tweeting a panel that he was in or something. But he said that, Harry Potter was a big influence. There was especially in the younger years of Dooku, it was supposed to be kind of like them being at wizarding school, because they're at space wizarding school, right? And I kind of picked up on that the first time that I listened to it, and I might just be kind of seeing things where they aren't there, but like there's like 2 or 3 times where Dooku or one other character ends up getting punished by being forced to catalog and study the past. They see I wrote down exactly, the past, or archiving work, is used as a punishment for misbehaving younglings and apprentices and Padawans. That seems a little bit backwards, right? Like, that's like poli-sci, political science student, and punishing them by forcing them to read through and categorize old Supreme Court cases. To me, that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like that should be something that they should relish in. And it's just more reinforcement for how the prequel era Jedi refuse to see into the future. They refuse to look into the past because they've already won. There's been 1,000 years of peace. By the way, it's confirmed that the Sith Empire ended about 1,000 years ago. And they're so full of hubris that they've already won. What else is there to worry about, right? We've had peace for 1,000 years. We don't need to learn anything from the past. And even studying the past is dangerous. In regards to one of the characters looking for Sith artifacts and their discomfort with that. And then they're also fearful of the future. They're fearful of knowing what could happen, or at least getting a hint of what could happen from premonitions, to the point where they're willing to lock up people with the gift for premonitions into an insane asylum, basically, on a lava planet. Man, the prequel era Jedi sucked. I really hope that if my harebrained idea of us getting a pre-prequel era slate of stuff, with whatever Benioff and Weiss is working on, or whatever Rian Johnson's working on, and anything like that, I'm curious to know, how are they going to define the old Jedi? Because in the EU, in the Legends era of the Old Republic, like KOTOR, SWOTOR, excuse me, it's getting late. They're very much just the same sort of beast. They've got the same sort of culture. I'm wondering whether or not the Jedi that fought the Sith Empire would be similar and be just as kind of screwed up and have their flaws, or would it be more along the lines of maybe whatever comes after Episode 9, whatever that version of the Jedi is going to be. Hopefully much more closer to the ideal for Jedi, which is neutral negotiators who can defend themselves. Either way, I am very, very happy that we got Dooku Jedi Lost. I really hope that we do get more audio dramas. And yeah, it's just an amazing time to be a Star Wars fan. It really is. If only we got a trailer for that first live-action Star Wars television series that's supposed to come out in like 4 months. That'd be nice. I know, we're probably going to get it at D23. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought about Dooku Jedi Lost down in the comments below. And yeah, may the Force be with you guys. Take care.